We are we are live. Hi Suresh, welcome to Thana and Friends.
Hi, Thana. Thank you for having me here.
It's a weird transition, is right? I mean, we don't see each other for a year. That's the last I saw you. I saw you in Pandan, Inda or Tesco somewhere there to collect the 12-volt socket.
That was a few months after Evo Enduro 2019.
So that was end of 19.
End of 19, yeah, because I remember that clearly because you were intrigued by my USB setup in my car and thought that it should be done better. And I was hoping for some solutions. And then you bought something, and then you had it leftover, and you offered it to me. And
it irked me seeing that wire hanging out. You had the 12-volt wire plugged in, and you had so even back in even I was thinking like, I got to give this to Suresh. this is a perfect solution for Suresh. It's got to be there. And now obviously the Moog is ready.
So that that USB connection was done about 4 hours or 5 hours before the trip, when I realized that I needed a supply for my phone, because I was going to use it for navigation to find the location anyway when we get there. So I just thought, oh dear, I don't have anything. And I thought power bank. I thought it's not going to last. So I quickly wired something up in order to get it working. Well, thankfully, it worked all the way there and back.
Yeah. So we got people joining us now. So we got Melissa Go online. Say hi, ST.
That's Melissa. Yes, it's a nickname that she has for me.
Okay. SD could mean a lot of things, but I hope the SD here is the good SD.
Good for her.
Good for her.
Good for her.
I shall leave my imagination behind, and hopefully it's a good SD. We got Mugen in the house. Hi Mugen, thank you for joining us. On a Thursday night. And we've got Kishan Lavindran joining us. Hello, sir. How are you?
That is my nephew.
Oh, awesome. And I guess that's a bit about what we're doing today. It's about invoking, I guess, the spirit of Gung-Ho, which you have. I think if you read any article about Evo Enduro on Horizon, the word Suresh will come out. And the word it's almost a verb, almost, in that sense, how you Google things. I think you symbolize Evo Enduro to the fullest extent, and I'm so happy that you could join us. Melissa has got an evil laughter. So Melissa, earlier you said hi SD, and now evil laughter. So I'm more curious about this. I'm definitely going to ask Suresh after this, what is actually SD all about. But before that, let's go to our intro, and then we'll come back and we'll start the session. Okay. So if you know the intro by now, this will be catchy for you. If not, have a listen. Welcome back, guys, to Thana and Friends, and we've got Suresh in the house. We've got Bobby Ang, bro. Check with Suresh. Yes, Bobby. I thought you were joining us.
Hi, Bobby, the man who inspired me to do things.
I don't know. Is Bobby inspired you? Bobby inspired you? Inspired Bobby? I think it's a very give and take thing, because I think a lot of ways you inspire us, Suresh.
How Bobby inspired me was that when he first came up with the idea of Evo Enduro, it was something that he on Tuesday with Chris, he mentioned about Mille Miglia, right? And how he bought the domain name and how he got the lawyer's letter. It was really a funny story there. But I always wanted to join something like that. Mille Miglia, but obviously that was in Europe, and obviously it was very, very expensive as well because it's high end. Then I looked at US. Nothing was in Asian region. And when Bobby came up with that idea and then broadcast that, it was immediately, I was like, yes, finally, and then then his concept of doing Evo Enduro, which was different from other people, and that bringing the whole community together, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what car you drive, doesn't matter, as long as you have the passion to drive, you belong. And that just inspired me, because I belong to various car clubs, and of course some are more prefer to be exclusive, some prefer to be a higher end, some prefer to be there are politics within that. But with Evo Enduro and Bobby's vision about bringing it together, it just inspired me, and I was just like, wow. And how many friends have I made because of that? It's just exactly. And I just so the biggest disappointment with me with Evo Enduro is that the 2020 Evo Enduro didn't take place because of pandemic. I was so looking forward to it. I came back looking for, okay, what's the next car to drive? Yeah, so yeah, Bobby inspires me in many ways, and also listening to his life story, how he came about. Yeah, it's just impressive, amazing.
To give you an idea of why people thought I actually sold my Audi A6, one of the main reasons was Suresh, because there I was driving my A6 to Phuket, and I feel almost like I cheated, because I was so comfortable getting to Phuket. The 1,000 kilometers felt nothing, and there was Suresh on his mini moke, and then I felt like I cheated somehow. I felt I cheated the experience. I cheated my own self in going in a car that I could have gone more hardcore. I could have done more, And that's part of the reason why I sold the A6, because I wanted more.
Right.
So yeah. And I think you can appreciate, isn't it? I think you can.
Yes, I can certainly appreciate that. I can appreciate, it makes the journey more memorable rather than the destination. It's the journey that you go through, the difficulties that you go through, and the waves, the smiles, the whole process. The destination is the cherry, but the journey is just amazing. Yeah.
So for those who don't know, Horizon obviously is the bigger framework, and within Horizon we've got the Evo Club, and the Evo Club, it's a fantastic community of people. We do weekend drives, we do events, we do group buys, a lot of stuff happening there. Down on the bottom of the screen, you can see the link to the Evo Club. So if you're not a member yet, please by all means go and sign up at the Evo Club. One of the things I like in the Evo Club is it tells you what's your current car, what's your future car that you put a picture of. So it also, I think it's a way to inspire you to be more. And I always like about that website. A lot of stuff in there. Just go have a look. But back to Evo Enduro. So the first Evo Enduro you did with your Lotus, correct? You did with the Lotus car club.
Yes, the first Evo Enduro was with a Lotus, and then that was to Phuket, and the second one was to Hua Hin, and the third one was back to Phuket.
I'm reading a comment here. I'm gonna read this. Saichiro did a Lowpowered in a biplane, and Thana Krishnan looked out of his business class seat and thought, "Damn, I envy him."
Yeah, I suppose that captures it really well.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, in fact, I felt so cheated by Evo Enduro. I did a drive to Phuket the month after Evo Enduro, and I did a 1 day drive. We left in the morning, we left in the night, and I was like, this is nothing, man. I want more. I want more. Give me more. And
I remember you telling me about when you were in my car and we were traveling, and I remember you telling me about how you were thinking about the journey, how you were planning the journey, and then you realized that you should just go. Oh dear.
Yeah, that's the video. I mean, any of you who have not seen Evo Enduro or experienced it, I suggest you to go on YouTube, click on the word Evo Enduro. There are a lot of videos from a lot of people who have done the drive. This is a video with me and Suresh. That's the Evo. That's the Moke. Look at that. Oh, that's Eugene there behind on his S2000. Isn't that beautiful? It's a beautiful sight. What I wouldn't give to be back there.
Yeah, exactly. the moment the border is open, I'm heading up.
What an epic drive. And if you can see down there, there's the USB charger I spoke about earlier, because it was annoying me, the fact what Suresh did was, before the drive, as you said before the show, he had to charge the phone somehow. So he just put a 12-volt wire plugged in, went out and just hot wired, and there you go. That's your charger for the day.
Yeah. It's so much so that the Evo Enduro, my sister and my niece, who travel by plane normally, when they go on holidays, and that in 2019 they decided to follow, to take their Honda and drive up to Phuket, all the way, stopping all over the place, and it was just amazing that I have inspired my family members to actually do that too. So I was very proud of them. Two ladies, my sister, who is older than me, and my niece, decided to travel and do the Evo Enduro on their own.
Yeah, and that's amazing. That's amazing to think about two ladies. I mean, here we are, guys saying like, "Oh, yeah, I don't want to go, like it's dangerous, lah." But two ladies went on their own, and I remember you saying, "Imi, what to call?" They asked you, "Shall I go?" And you said, "Go lah." What do you think about it?
Yes, I remember that. Funny thing happened on the way back for them. In that, what happened was that they got to on the way back, they got to the border, and then when they got to the border, where right at the border at Bukit Kayu Hitam, straight through are full of lorries, and the cars have to turn left to go into the custom area, the immigration area, instead of make a turn there and come back to the main area, right? But my sister, not realizing that, it went straight through, and then she got to the duty-free area, which was already in Malaysia. Then she called me asking, "Would you like anything from the duty-free?" And I said, "Have you stamped your passport?" She said, "What passport?" Said, "You should have stamped your passport by now if you're in the duty-free area. Where are you exactly?" She said, "In the duty-free area." I said, "Then you've gone past the Thai customs and immigration. You should have stamped your passport. You're illegal at the moment." She said, "What do I do?" I said, "Go back." So she went back, and then she spoke to the immigration officer or the customs officer at the lorry lane. And they apparently went like that, and then told her to park the car there and then get the paperwork done. Otherwise she would have come back here and without having stamped out from Thailand. And
But in all fairness, when I went to Thailand first, by car, I chose to drive the Almera, because my mind was like, what do I drive to? What do I drive? And I was so concerned about taking the Audi. I was like, what if it breaks down? How can I find 80-inch tires? How can I find? I was just thinking about a whole lot of stuff for no reason. So I took the Almera was made in China, made in Thailand. Definitely they can fix it. So I took the Almera there. My first trip, I actually, as a sister, I actually went past, and then I went back and I got my thing. So this was on the way in. You must that form you must submit. Right?
Yes, the car importation form.
Correct. So
otherwise you get fined after 1,000 baht a day.
Correct. Yeah. And then you're stuck. You can't bring the car back to Thailand.
Yeah. I have had friends who had to pay because they were trying to get back into Thailand and they didn't submit the form on the way out, so they had to pay up to 1,000 ringgit, I think.
It's madness. We're going to take some comments from people who have joined us. We have got Mugen again. He says, "I envy your vintage car that made all the way to Phuket."
Oh, thank you. It made the trip on its 50th year of existence. So it went in 2019, and Evo Enduro was kind enough to give me number 50 as well. So which was car number 50 for the 50th anniversary of the car. So that's why I decided to take the car as well, to celebrate 50th year of its existence. Yeah. So exactly. Yeah. So but it made it. He made it really well, and brought me back too, which was fantastic.
What's interesting was, I'll share a story. When we arrived there, I took a picture of me in that car, and I sent to my family back in KL. And then I think I told the story, and my friend said, "Wow, your friend has got," and I told him the fact, yeah, I think in the mode when you are going to a stop, you have to let go, press the clutch, because the you can tell a story. You know what happened?
Yeah, so the engine mount and everything is rather old. Is obviously very old technology. It takes a long time to stop as well. And the clutch is and so you have to sort of manage the whole situation each time you come to a stop. Otherwise, a jerk, and then you sort of you can't drive it like a modern manual car. You have to manage it so that nothing breaks.
I remember you telling me that when you come to a stop, you got to almost bring up the clutch because the engine mount is weak, that it will hit on the radiator.
Yes.
And the cooling will go. And I told it to my brother, and he said, I told him, his engine mounts was failing and all that stuff, and I told that story to you, and then you said, like, that's nothing. I was leaking brake fluid all the way.
Yeah, true. Yeah, with all these old cars, there was once a classic car, a mini car club made a drive to Ipoh, and I got to Teluk Intan, and when my brake started leaking, and it was a Sunday, all the mechanic shops were closed, and I didn't have any. I had my parts, but I didn't tools, but I didn't have the seals to replace those the seals in the brake pump. So I made a U-turn and I drove from Teluk Intan back to Mantin, where I live, without brakes, completely zero brakes, and my handbrake wasn't working as well at that time because the cable had snapped. So you can imagine approaching a toll booth. You're hoping all the way that there wasn't going to be any traffic. That's one. Secondly, you're approaching the toll booth and you hope that there are no cars in front of you, so you can just breeze through smart tag. And then so it was an interesting journey all the way. But let me tell you a story about how I bought the car. Right. Okay. So I bought the car when I went on a trip to Sitiawan, to Lumut, and then I took a school trip because I'm a school teacher. So so I took a trip to your car number 50 there. You can see the case at the back. So I took my my students were doing the hiking and with outbound school and Lumut. And when I went around driving around looking for what was interesting in that kampung area, when I came across this car, and this was 22 years ago, thereabout. And so I came across this car, and I remembered that the car, my neighbor had this car when I was a kid, and I was about 7, 8 years old, 5 to 8 years old, and he had this car, and his family used to drive on this car, and I used to be so envious. So when I saw this car, I said, I gotta get this car. So saw the owner. The owner told me a price, wasn't going to negotiate. I said I had to get it, so I got it. So then I drove it back, right? And the car was in horrible state, absolutely horrible state. But it made it, and it broke down at the gate of my school where I was coming into school. It broke down there from Lumut all the way to the school. It didn't break down, but it broke down as I entered the school compound. Yes, this is a great car.
It's a great car.
Yeah,
it's amazing. And I think you've done the whole research now. It looks fantastic. I can't wait to see it in person. We'll take some more comments that's here now. We got Amir Haris. Wow, Mr. Suresh. The brand to blame when it comes to my action cars. Do we blame you for his 311?
No. I mean, cannot blame me at all. Because I blame him for wanting me to race. He has taught me. He's only 17, and he has taught me so many things about racing. And his skills on a go-kart track is just amazing. I used to race with him when he was a kid. All right, and I used to bully him, and I used to bully him. Obviously, I was a kid, but I think I managed to bully him for about 2 months. After which he's been bullying me back for the last 10 years.
and that's you on a podium.
Yeah, that's the MSF race. Yeah, that's the Saga Cup race. Yeah, that's the Saga Cup race that takes place. It used to take place at Sepang. There used to be 6 races per year. I got into racing because of people like seeing the fun that people were having. Friends of mine who are having, and this guy, and also Ame racing go-kart and seeing how much he enjoys that. And this friend of mine by the name of Cairo, he actually was the one who prompted me to go racing, and just said Saga Cup. I thought, if you're going to be, if you're a car guy, you got to tick lots of boxes. So I've done go-kart, I've done classic, I've done modern. So what is there, so that came, then that happened. So Cairo mentioned about Saga Cup. I never even knew such a thing existed, Saga Cup. And then I got involved, and then was involved for every year, and was really getting to grips with it, learning a lot from it. Becoming a better driver because of it, because you learn a lot more on the racetrack, especially against equally capable people and racers, and learning from their experts, thinking how do they do that, and then because I tell you one story where an experienced driver, Tunku Jan, drove my car, and I still can't match my car. He drove my car. I still can't match the time that he did in my car. So it's not the car, it's me who's slow.
Yeah.
And same thing with other people who taught me. And I believe that coaching is coaching that I went through with various people like Farid Haruman, Tunku Jan, Dominic Ang, as well as Zen Lau. The coaching that you go through teaches you a lot about what you are capable of. You realize, you think the ceiling is there, and when you realize the ceiling is actually not even there, right? Simple fact that with the Lotus, right, the Lotus Elise, I still haven't matched the time that Dominic Ang did in my car with me as a passenger. With me as a passenger. So there's another 70 kilos, right? And I still can't beat his time. Being alone, having driven the car, know the car inside out, drive it a lot, go on the track a lot, I still can't beat his time. Yeah. So what does that show? It's just that skill, that talent that people have.
And a lot of people think that having a car, it's like what's about horsepower, it's about faster car you have, the better you drive. But it's yes and no, because even when we go to Phuket, you were the first one to arrive in Phuket when everyone was driving all these high power cars, and one was, of course, your tenacity. You were like, no, I'm going to do it, short brakes and doing it. But also, I said in your car, around corners, there was no brakes. There was no brakes in your car. You were not braking at all in the mode. It was just doing, and I can feel the body shifted or the weight transfer. I can feel that, your downshift or whatever you call it. But you were just having that sweet, smooth ride all the way. And I that short ride, I felt like, oh my God, a lot to learn, so much to learn. You're right. With
low-powered cars, you have to keep the momentum going. You have to bring the momentum. You can't lose the momentum. So the brake is the brake is and slows you down, and then you have to build up the momentum again. So with higher powered cars, you start depending on the power to drive. To take you to that speed, whereas with the lower powered cars, you have to manage the whole momentum, gravity, the whole roll in order to bring the car to speed and not lose speed, because it takes a longer time then to rebuild the speed. So that's why the Moog and also the Lotus, the Elise, which is only 113 horsepower at the wheel, which is so you get to learn that. Yeah.
But then again, power to weight is
power to weight. Yeah, power to weight is my Lotus is only 730 kilos.
Wow.
And the Moog is only 450 kilos.
What?
Yeah. It has nothing on it. It's just a body on a subframes with the engine.
It's 4 bobbies.
Yeah, exactly. 4 bodies. Yeah. I remember when I was flying curry. Yeah,
I want to ask you, how is the flying curry, that the term came about? I know that everywhere people call you the flying curry. Why is that?
The official term, if it can be called official, is heavenly curry.
Heavenly curry.
It comes from a flying experience. So, the one of my friends who's from a car club, Lotus Car Club, he's Hungarian, American Hungarian, and he has an acrobatic plane, Red Bull acrobatic plane. You know that does all the acrobats at in the sky. So he invited a few of us to go to this airfield in Uluburna, and to go on a ride with him. So of course I signed up, and of course I was going to be excited about that. So, but then I went to. He told specifically, do not eat anything heavy and do not eat any curry, right? And then eat something light, and then you take. Of course, on the way there, I saw this lovely curry shop, roti canai shop on the way there. So I thought, what? Of course, I'm, Malaysian. We have to have our roti canai and our thosai, right? So I had my roti canai and my thosai, and then got to the airfield. So then I went up with him, and he gave me, he gave me a plastic bag just in case. So I went up. He did this acrobatic, loops and whatnot, pulling this G and that G. And I went from excited to very quiet to trying to hold everything in, And then when I couldn't hold it in, I just threw up. And then I just held onto the bag. I told him I couldn't take it anymore. So he landed. And then when I came out with the bag, of course, I have very, very lovely friends who were very sympathetic. And very, and caring, who just decided to take lots of videos and photos of the occasion, and I started laughing big time. So I just walked off. I laid down at the end of the tarmac on the runway. I just laid down, trying to recover with this curry in my bag. So they started joking about that. That's how it came about, this name of curry from the heavens.
I see.
Heavenly curry. I brought my tapao, my own tapao.
I am speechless.
The Hungarian pilot is called Les Vorosmoti. He lives in Malaysia. Malaysian, my second PR, I think, or my second home. Lovely, great guy. So thanks to a lot.
Is that green plane I saw on your Facebook page?
Yes.
I think I had a picture. Is it this picture?
Yeah. That is not the actual plane, but that's the place. That's the occasion.
Okay.
That plane is on display. It's a very old classic plane. Okay. But he's an acrobatic. Those one. You see those on YouTube. They have a challenge, and they have these balloons to go through and all that. And so he does that kind of competitions.
I saw this picture and I want to ask you what was the picture all about. So yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
So we got Ami Haris again saying, Cikgu Suresh makes me jealous all the time. He's done tons of long drives in an S1 with no fault from the car whatsoever, but I can't even get mine running for a few months now.
Yeah, Ami and his dad has a Elise S1 as well. Of course, they have the they have the 11, the S1, but the S1 is undergoing quite a bit of work that when they bought the car, I had some issues that they had to sort out. Whereas mine, I've had it for about 10 years, 12 years now. And I maintain it myself. So and maintenance is key for these cars because you're trashing it all the time when you're driving it. So you have to maintain it all the time properly. It's once well maintained, it runs. It just keeps going. And but the problem is that I think the car that they got wasn't properly maintained. But once it's done, it's going to be a superb car.
I had the opportunity to drive the S1 in the Lotus Driving Academy driving day.
Right.
So they gave the S1 and they gave the 250 Cup to drive, and one was more newer. And they keep asking, so which one do you like? Which one do you like? And I went like, actually the S1, because it's like you can feel the vibration of the car through your bones. It's harder to steer, but it was just much more rewarding to drive the S1 opposed to driving the 250 Cup. It was just like I could daily the 250 Cup easily. The S1, I have no idea how people daily it. It's just you could feel every inch of the road. It's just amazing.
Yeah, the Elise S1 is gives you a lot of feedback, but it's also loves to show its tail. It likes to spin, so you have to manage that really, really well. That's why I remember reading about the Elise S1 particularly from this reviewer who was describing the handling or the feeling of the car, and that it gives you so much feelings that you can even tell how many legs that the insect that you just ran over has. But it's that kind of information is coming through a lot, tells you everything. But the problem with that, that's great for the first 2 hours. After the first 2 hours of driving, you just say, shut up, I just want to go home. It's just too much information after that. But the first 2 hours is great. But it is quite a hard car to deal with, to work with.
And that's some kind of similar thing I had after driving went for the Lotus Driving Academy. They took us on the lap, because I was like in a point, should I get a Lotus? It's one of the cars I'm looking at. And after going that, or like spending a day with the cars, and I realized that if you can go to track days, if you can do kind of events, you should get it because it's worthwhile. But as a daily, you need big balls. You need big balls to make it work.
Yeah. I agree. It's not an easy car to live with. Yeah. Thana, why I got the car, why I got the Elise.
Please share.
The reason behind that was that I was very severely ill at that time, and this was in 1999, 2000. I was severely ill, and then I was sitting on my hospital bed and looking through magazines when I read this article about Proton launching the Lotus Elise in Malaysia in 1999.
Correct.
And I looked at the car, I just said, wow, what a beautiful, beautiful car. And then I just completely forgot about it because obviously I had some bigger things to worry about at that time. But after surviving for 10 years, I was thinking, how would I celebrate my 10 year of survival after that illness? And that's when I remembered that car that I saw on my bed, on my hospital bed, thinking, oh yeah, that car, Lotus Elise. That's when I started looking at it and decided I had to get it. So I got it. Yeah.
And again, I think if there's any person about cars, it's Crispy here. Hi, Chris. Thanks for joining us. I think Crispy spoke about provenance of a car and history behind the car. And I really appreciate Chris for that because I think what he does is actually bring stories to the car. And I was talking about Suresh the other day. If you were to put a value on your car, you can't because like imagine where it's taken you, what you've done with it, the memory, all those things put together. It's just priceless. A car is more than just a mode of transportation, and especially with these kind of special cars. So 2017, Crispy was there.
On
with his Mercedes. With his Mercedes, amazing car that he drove, and that's when I first met Chris. Such a humble guy, really friendly, very welcoming, and then with his Mercedes, and we looked like I was like, wow, what a fantastic looking car. It's great, Nick. I mean, Chris really takes care of his cars, and he really knows his cars.
First time I met Chris was obviously I'm a fan of Chris before actually being his friend or knowing him. He was pumping his on Evo Enduro 209, was pumping gas in Thailand for his E30, and I was looking at Chris and I walking by, and then I saw something on his. Because I'm a person which I like stuff like engineering, how to put together and stuff, and I saw on his gas cap, it's a blue piece of like stuff there. I was thinking, what the hell was that? And I noticed it was blue tack. So there was blue tack holding the cap, his gas cap, in Evo Enduro for his E30 back then. And then I remember Chris looking, was like, "What? What do you want?" Walked away, and Chris is tall and menacing. You know how he is. So like, quiet. I walked away quietly. But that's my first memory of Chris. I think I never told Chris about this, but the blue tag stuck in my head. I was thinking like, how could I fix this? Being me,
I mean, Chris comes across as this menacing big guy,
Oh yeah,
gentle giant.
Him as a gentle giant, but it seemed like he's like a transporter. Like the guy with the bald head coming away. Like,
when he spoke on Tuesday during his show, he talked about provenance, which you mentioned just now.
Yes,
right? That is so much a classic car storyline. That the provenance of the car is so amazing. As I was working on my Moog and I was removing all the paint, I was rebuilding the car recently, and I was removing the paint. You see each paint color that is gone through, right? And see, and you think, how many owners prior to me, right? How many owners? And then as I removed more and more, I got to the base color, which was the original color. That it came from the original color. It was dark green or army green, and then you go, wow, that's the original color. Then you start removing the original color. You realize that those days there was no anti-rust, right? There was no first layer, second layer.
Clear coat.
Clear coat. It was just one layer of paint. And then when you start removing that, and then when you were removing all this paint, and you realize the welding that the previous owners had done, or my car, I realized had a crash on the left front, which I didn't realize when I had a car for 22 years. Only realized it when I started removing the paint and going, wow. So I wish I went to JPJ. I tried to get names and addresses of previous owners. They said no. I tried to, and I just wanted to know more about the car, just to see where it been. Of course, I know the guy who I bought it from, and him. But who owned it before that? And how who was the first owner 50 years ago? If it was 30 years at the time, he would be 80 today. Yeah, and where was it? And just it would be great if I could find that.
I'll talk to you after the show with some underground JPJ connection. Let's get some facts for you.
Those kind of details just inspires me to know what because when the car was here, I was 1 year old.
Wow.
Yeah, when the car arrived, the car was built in 1969, arrived in 1969. So I was one.
And this was considered a late production model because it was actually a much earlier model, but was still being made in Australia, and they brought in to Australia to Malaysia.
Yes, the first model was made in the UK in I think 1963, 64, thereabout. And then Australia started producing it, and mine is an Australian version from 1969. But I don't know what was the concept behind Mini Moog. Apparently, the British or the Mini or Austin at that time was trying to build it for their army, mean, you imagine a mini Moog as an army vehicle. You just laugh. You know,
it was the first SUV, sports utility vehicle. You know, think about it.
Yes.
Go
indeed.
anywhere, do anything.
Yeah. But it's a beautiful, lovely car. I mean, today was the first time I drove it to my hometown, the town nearest town and back after taking it off road about 15 months ago as I started rebuilding it. And the amount of smiles, cheers, and people waving at you and smiling at you, asking you about the car, it's just amazing.
We must talk about this. I think there were guys coming in with fancy cars. I think like Thomas came with his 235, and people were fancy cars. But the car that got most amount of girls to come and sit was your Moog. Correct?
Yeah, true. You know, whenever I go to a supermarket or like Tesco's or a Giant, I park there, and if I park there and I come back, there will be kids in it. It's a toy car. It's a toy car. It's just an amazing car. It brings a lot of people. I used to my first trip to Thailand with that car, and my second trip, which was Evo Enduro. I got stopped a lot by the police and by army checkpoints because they want to see the car. I would take out all my documents, getting ready, and then you just want to see the car and take photos with the car. So I'm not important. It's the car.
I remember that when we went to, I think all the blocks we went to, I think people were stopping by and looking at the cars, the police guys, and taking pictures, and amazing. In fact, I got the same reaction. I think when I came back the second time around, and I was spotting a lot of exhaust, and they stopped me and they said they saw the Evo badge, and the guy went like, "You need kawan kadok."
Yeah.
So I think back then the whole Evo Enduro badge was popular with car dog. All the custom guys knew car dog. So it was fantastic. We got Carnation asking, you made all the Thailand and more, bro. He went to Thailand and he did his own thing, and I lost count. I lost track.
Yeah. So it was 2 trips. The first trip, the second trip was during Evo Enduro 2019. And that was to Phuket, via Wang Klian, Phuket, and then back to Hat Yai, and then back to Mantin, back to Malaysia. But the first trip was when I rebuilt the car the first time, and it took when I bought the car, and then a year later, I mean, I have this great friend called Mr. Shan. And he was a physics teacher in my school, and and everything I learned about car mechanics was from this guy. And he said, "Let's rebuild your car." Wow. So I said, "Rebuild a car? Yeah, great, fine. I don't know how to rebuild a car. Let's teach me." So over 2 years, we rebuilt the car. Everything, I was so shocked. I was so worried because he went to the car. He started pulling everything. The wires he pulled all the wires in a big jumble and just put it aside. I'm like, oh God, are we going to be able to fix this? Oh my God, what's going on? I said, can I trust this guy? Does he know what he's doing? Right? And then slowly he taught me bit by bit, rebuilding the whole car from the small cylinder, piston cylinder, the pistons in the brake pump, to how the hydraulic system works, how the relays work, how the wiring works, how the speedometer works, how everything. So it taught me everything, and I learned everything. Since then that gave me the confidence to work on cars after that. And so it taught me that this was about 22 years ago. And then so once we built the car. Oh, the funny story about this was when he wasn't around, I decided to do it on my own, right? Went away for a weekend. So I was like, I'll continue working on my own, right? We had built this engine, right? Rebuilt engine. And then, there's a distributor, and there's a shaft. And the shaft requires a tool to screw into the thing to pull out. Of course, I didn't know that. He did. I didn't. So as I was pulling it out and I'm putting it back in, because we were trying to adjust the timing. Or rather, I was thinking I was smart, trying to adjust the timing. I tried to put it in, it dropped into the engine.
Wow.
The whole thing dropped to the engine. So you can imagine, I'm like, and then I asked Sean when he came back, he said, well, we have to open up everything again. Because it's right at the bottom. If you think about mini engine, the gearbox at the bottom and the drive shaft just dropped all the way down. I think, oh my God. So I started looking at forums, and those days forums, simple forums, not like today. Those days internet was that dial-up connection and all that stuff. So everything was slow. So I started looking up things, and we started working on the body and the wiring instead of the engine. And then one day I came across this forum, and I started talking to other mini guys, mini mechanics, KL, including in Australia, and they all said I had to rebuild the car. I rebuilt the engine. I thought, oh shit, it's one drop. But one guy on a forum somewhere said, he said, is the engine out of the car? I said, yes. And he said, well, take out the speedometer housing, and then find somebody with a tiny hand, put that, and go and see whether you can grab it. So I great. So I opened up the housing. I looked, there's a hole, tiny hole. So I looked around my school, find the student with the smallest of hands, right? The smallest of hands. I said, now, come here, put your hand through here and see whether you can feel anything moving. So the boy thankfully did. He put his hand through and he said, I hear something. Is that I said, whatever it is, if you can pull it out, pull it out. He just pulled it out and he came out. 6 months. Finding that, so my students have always helped me in rebuilding the car. When I took the body off the sub frames, I think about 4 or 5 students come. All right, carry the body. So I get lots of help from my students here.
Yeah. And that's also, I think, part of I bought a car from Chris, the MG, and obviously the MG, it's a work in progress. It's not an easy thing to rebuild to the point of to go there. And I figured you have a finite amount of life that you can spend on a car. It's just limited. And something sang to me. I said, no, this is the car that I want to rebuild back and make sure it's proper and learn about mechanics. And I think that's something that's very precious. People forget about it. In day of consumables, you buy a car and it's broken down, put it back. Something so beautiful about my first ever Gallant, opening up the distributor, cleaning up the contact points, putting it back together. I did that, and I learned if you turn the distributor a bit this way, the timing changed. And I was trying to reverse engineer what's happening with this car and trying to learn. I just feel sad for people of today's era not being able to enjoy that. And as I was a comment earlier before, it's how do you prepare? And I think Kyoto is here. Hi, Kyoto. For long distance like Evo Enduro, how do you consider cars that make you feel is best suited for the adventure and journey, ad hoc servicing, maintenance, and liability?
Right.
He drove a car that had no mounting, had no clutch fluid, had no brakes to Thailand. But Suresh, how do you prepare for the kind of drives?
Okay, so it depends. Depends depends on the person, I suppose. Depends what you're comfortable with. And for me, it's the journey that's important, and it has to be something memorable. And therefore, yes, I've got very comfortable car, very comfortable daily car too. But if that car would have taken me there and beyond, easily. And the Moke has taken me to Bangkok. When I rebuilt the car the first time, that I went all the way to Bangkok. Stopping in Krabi, Phuket, Bangkok, and then went down the east coast to Koh Samui. Took the ferry to Koh Samui, came back, went to Narathiwat, came down to Kota Baru and all that. So that move. So it depends on what you're comfortable with. Now, for me, what I choose is the car is something that will make the journey memorable. It's not the destination. The destination I can go to Bangkok in a nice car. I could drive it comfortably. I know, but it's for me it's the journey and the managing of the temperature, the managing of the non-working fuel gauge. Thinking, how much have I got? No idea. You open the tank, you put your finger in and see how much you've got. So it's that kind of experience that I look for. So that's for me. That's how I choose. And also, I also know my car really well, because having learned from Mr. Shan about how to maintain the car, I also know how to repair it, or what goes wrong, what to do with it. But then again, you can't bring all spare parts for all eventually. So you got to take a bit of a risk with everything, and it depends on what kind of risk you are comfortable with, and also that confidence that it will be all right. And if it doesn't go all right, there are going to be people helping you. Thana, my philosophy about that actually was formed because somebody mentioned to me that when I was thinking about, I think I told you this story, right? I think when in the car when we were in Phuket, I remember that when we were, somebody told me when I was over preparing, and I was thinking about this, thinking about that, thinking about this, and he said that, where did your grandparents come from? And I said, from India and from Sri Lanka, if I'm not mistaken. They go, right. Did they have internet at that time? I said, no. Did they have money? No. Did they have passport? I don't think so. Did they have an embassy here that you could go to? No. Did they have a written ticket? No. Did they know what they were coming to? No. Did they know they were going home? No. Now answer answer yourself that question. Do you have online banking? Yes. Do you have internet? Yes. Do you have Malaysian embassy? Yes. Can you speak English? Yes. So what are you worried about? Are you saying that your great-grandparents who gave you all these genes is gone to waste because you are not comfortable with risk, which are manageable?
Yeah.
I thought,
and I think day by day, that experience is being robbed of our children, the young ones. Because if you think about, I think I went to UK about 20 years ago or 15 years ago, and I went to UK and I landed. I remember this feeling. I landed in UK and I went there, and I was in Tower Bridge and I stood there and I saw it and I went like, now what? And why I say now what is because the experience of being in London and UK is robbed from us, but the fact we've seen all the pictures, we've been there, we must have been there from the day we were born.
Yeah.
There's nothing more to explore. And I'm there like, okay, tourist spot, now what? What the hell now, And that's where I think like Evo Enduro, when you drive and you stop at little small spots, even in UK, I go to like all the small cabins or small places, that is what makes it interesting, not the tourist spot. Yeah. And you're right. I know what's the worst that could happen. Even the worst that could happen is will give you an experience of someone helping you, or the worst experience will be like, oh, how I fix this. It's your attitude in life and how you fix this. And if you go for the kind of drives and kind of adventures and Gung-Ho, the term of today's is being Gung-Ho, is that if you can face anything, nothing is bad in life. It's just how you take it and convert it into experiences and it changes you. And I think you symbolize that very well. I mean, you went through this illness, you came out of it, you bought an Elise, and you were like, you know what? I don't care. I want to buy it. And I think you mentioned a story before, is that you didn't want to buy any car until you could afford to buy the Elise. You're running a saga for a long time.
Yeah. I bought my first car, Saga. I still have it. I love the car. That name is Rusty for that car because it came with a bit of a rust. And my illness was cancer, so I'm a cancer survivor. So it's and the car I kept my Saga because I was determined. I bought the Mini Moke first, and that was because I saw the car. And I didn't want to miss out the chance. It was within the first year of my survival, my illness. The first year I saw it, I said, and my doctor gave me about 6 months to 2 years of good chance of living. 6 months to 2 years. So when I saw the Moke, I had to get it. So I got it. So after the first 2 years, I'm like, okay, what now? What now? So then I start saving money again because I had spent all my money up to that point waiting for the day. right? But then after that, when I survived longer, I thought, okay, I have to start saving. But then I wanted this Lotus Elise, so that's why I kept the Saga all the way. Refused to buy any car. All my cars, all my friends change cars all the time. I never did because I wanted the Lotus Elise. So I saved for 10 years for that. Yeah.
Salute, sir. Salute. That's a big salute.
Yeah, just wanted to.
So we've got some links here. I mean, guys, I want you all to go to evomission.com. And I think a lot of you don't understand that. Horizon has got a fantastic magazine, online magazine. We document our journeys there, car reviews. It's a fantastic articles are there. Go have a look. We've got the wonderful words of Bobby as well as Cornels and articles. They are just fantastic, epic, and you will know more. You know, we'll take more comments before we go for a break. I know we have kind of overshot. We're going to go for a break and we come back. The man that drove that vintage car, right? Sir, you're a legend. So they know you, your car more than they know you. Okay.
Thank you for the kind message.
We got Mark Go from Lumut.
No, Mark, no. I'm not from Lumut. I took a group of students to Lumut for a course, and that's when I saw the car. I'm actually from Tampin, Negeri Sembilan.
Okay, so we're going to go for a quick commercial break for about 2 minutes, and then we'll come back. Thanks for joining us, and we'll come back. So stay tuned. Endurance drive. But then again, what is Evo Enduro? It's a question I ask myself every single day now. And I think the answers are actually closer to home. Say hi to Suresh. He came in his Austin Mini Moke all the way from KL, and this car is now 50 years old.
But that's original. Huh? The side. It comes like that, goes out that way.
No, this part, you see whether you can get them customized or not. Then you cut this off.
Cannot
Or then become like Rolls Royce.
Rolls Royce, cut here, Rolls Royce, put Rolls Royce symbol there.
Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
I guess the idea is want to keep it as
Stock lah. As original as they can, yeah.
nice.
Hey, put your roof down, Eugene. Oh yeah. I was just saying, put your roof down. And you're putting the roof down.
Your picture actually got caught, or you just purposely pretend with the guy? It wasn't about the BMs, the Mercs, the Audis. It was about being out. Everybody here wanted to be out. They wanted to drop the top. I didn't have a top, but I was out of my sunroof. Everybody wanted to be out and having fun and being just out there. Everybody was giving me the Korean love sign, saying hi. And I guess that's a bit about what Evo Enduro is all about. So here's our drive to the dam, and I hope you enjoy the clip.
It's about 500 bucks. You save about 1,000 plus.
To work out cheaper for me.
4,000.
215, even more.
It's for 200 plus. 400 bucks of savings.
Thana, can you hear me? I can't hear you, Thana.
Sorry, I unmute myself. Sorry, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, that video you saw was my second ever video I ever did in this whole YouTube journey. And Suresh was one of the people who was instrumental to doing it, because I said, Suresh, start a channel, and he was like, do it. So I think if it wasn't for Suresh, even my channel won't be around, because he's the one who said, do it, go for it. I think there's something there. Go and express yourself, talk about it. So thank you, Suresh. You're the inspiration to my channel. My first ever video was about you, so I think you forgot about that. So you are the seed of my channel in that sense, you know. So thank you, sir.
So you're most welcome, Thana. It's just I didn't do anything much there, but you did most of the work there. But Thana, talk about Evo Enduro, right? And the amount of people that you become your friends. Number of people that you do great things that you meet, Mark, who mentioned just now, from the Volkswagen Club, such a great guy to and very welcoming. Mike, from DNA, Oh my God, him is such a great guy, and I'm so happy to have made his acquaintance. And then of course Silver. In fact, so much so that when I go to a certain place, right, I just put a posting up on Facebook saying I'm here. I get Evo Enduro people coming saying, "Hi, I'm here. Let's meet up." Right? So Silver from Penang, for example, and I was there.
Yeah.
I just said, "I'm in Penang, the ferry, final trip on the ferry." And then he said, "I'm here. Let's go for the best nasi kandar you would ever taste." I'm like, great. So you make so many friends through the Evo Enduro group, and everybody's so welcoming, and nobody's looking down at each other. What car? What tire? What this? What that? People are just talking about the journey, the experience, and just being fun. And of course, and then you get, of course, the Evo gang, the Evo Horizon gang. Horizon gang are such a wonderful group of people. Bang and with a funny boyfriend, and Feng, and also Evo, Thana, Chris, TJ, Con. Oh my God, Con! It's just it's just a great bunch of people. I don't know how Horizon has managed to bring such a great like-minded head, group of people. So and keeping this so many people from different varieties of backgrounds, bring them together with a common purpose, with a common enjoyment, and everybody go home happily with a smile.
Correct. I feel very privileged to be on the outside looking in, and now being a part of the Horizon family. It's for me, it's a privilege. It's definitely one of the highlights of my life, my adult life. The people I've met. It's amazing. And I think our sense is that all of you should live your life, and to experience things that we experience. And if I were to tell someone, how do you make that first step to live your life, what would that be? To someone young or even old, like the first step, people are just fearful of making the first step to doing something that actually scares them. That could be driving, could be anything. But how do you break that barrier of doing that first step of what fears you, what gives you fear?
I think that the first thing is to know that people are great anywhere and everywhere. The stories that we hear are often negative about people, about difficulties they face elsewhere. But anywhere you go to, there will be people who will help you out, who will step out of their way to help you, particularly if you're a foreigner. And I've experienced that so many places. I also know other people have experienced that. So just go. That's the first one. The second one is just throw away the schedule. Any schedule, any programs that you have, throw that away. Just go. Pack and go. And whatever you haven't packed, don't worry about it. You can buy it on the way. Yeah. Just go. I mean, I normally travel with 5 kilos of stuff, and that's it. And 5 kilos and 2 kilos of it is the weight of the bag. And just go. People will help you out, and people will sort you out. And this with the technology that we have today, there's nothing much to worry about. You just go and just wake up in the morning and plan and say, okay, where do I go today? And then you arrive at that place, you look for the hotel. I don't pre-book any of my hotels. I just go. I just drive, I see where I end up, and then decide whether to stay or not to stay and find a hotel. I've never been stranded.
The best experience I ever had driving was when my wife and I, we just got married, and we weren't earning a lot of money. We're not super rich, whatever, back then, or even now actually. But we didn't have an extra 1,000 ringgit a month in a bank for the month. That's how we were living. And one day we went out to work and in Ampang, and it was a junction. And I told my wife, like, should we skip work? Said yeah. And then we just flip a coin, say left or right, and we just kept driving, and we just did stuff, And further down the road, a couple years after we had kids, we did the same thing also. We just went out, we took a passport. We said, we might go north, we might go south, we might cross the border, we don't know.
Yeah.
And we said left or right. So we did the trip, and And each time we went to a junction, we just said left or right, left or left, right. And for some reason, we didn't leave Malaysia, we went around, but we went to like Rompin and JB and Penang and God knows where. That was the best, one of the best trips I've had with my wife, because there was no schedule. We weren't worried about being somewhere late. We were not worried about keeping our time. We weren't about we're gonna eat in 1 hour. We just did whenever we could, and we ended up like we had my daughter was I think about a couple of months old back then, and we ended up like 11 at night in Taiping, and we like where do we go? And we saw this hotel and we booked it. We stayed there. We woke up in the morning. It was this beautiful resort in the forest. It's somewhere near the zoo, and it's like I think some people have been there before. And you're like, shit, if we had planned, we wouldn't have discovered the place.
Yes.
And it's just a beauty about not scheduling. It's just a cool thing, you know?
Yeah, just have a rough idea where you're heading. Just go. And then see where you end up. Yeah.
Okay. And Chris says, spot on, Suresh. Yes, spot on. We got Eugene here. People now call him Mr. Average Saving, but I think...
that was Chris Wee's fault. And that's Chris Wee's fault. He took us there. He took us there. And Eugene, I mean, that guy doesn't have a serious bone in his body whatsoever.
I like the fact when he tells jokes, it's more of like, yeah, this is where he went. And there was and it's like then you're like, oh, that's just a joke. And we're like, oh my God.
How on earth did Eugene get those policemen and everybody else to act in his photographs, right? How did he do that?
Yeah. I think I might have that.
I saw that photo in the video just now.
I will try to play that video again and probably just pause there for you so people understand what happened. 1 second, guys. This is funny. This is just super. This is so classic of Eugene.
That's Eugene as well.
Okay, so that's Eugene. So that's Eugene there, and you can see, so that's Eugene, you know, and you can see there's a troublemaker. This is the cops, hands behind his backs, you know, over his car. And this is me asking Eugene, did you actually got caught, or did they ask you? You know, like ask them to do it, you know?
Yeah, and he's got a few others as well. I mean, how on earth does he do that?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't have a serious bone in his body whatsoever.
Yeah,
it's such a funny man.
Okay, so we got a question from Theodore again. Respect Chegu, how you process ever gone? How you pros or how you? I mean, you're being a professional. Ever gone on a drive or journey, and after which you learn something new about your car or ability you didn't expect from your car?
Right. Okay. For me, it's the journey with the Lotus Elise into Cambodia. Not knowing the condition of the car, of the roads there, and the condition of fuel availability, fuel quality of fuel, and fuel quality in Thailand as well. So I've learned that my car, the Lotus, is actually, despite being basic, it's actually very, very reliable. That it survived all the way into Cambodia and the tour of Cambodia and then back again. And on fuel, which was poor quality, it worked. And, you know, and so, yeah, I've learned that the car is actually a great car. It survives. And also that the Rover engine, for all its jokes about Rovers and Rover engines, the Rover engine in the Lotus runs on basic fuel. Whatever fuel you put it goes. It keeps going. And so yeah, I've learned that about the cars. Yeah.
Okay, and we're gonna do a few more. I think another 20 minutes, and we're gonna end the show actually. So if any comments, please come ask Suresh any question. He'll be more than happy to oblige. Greatest fear, Suresh. I mean, I think has there been any fear factor in you in living this Gung-Ho mentality? You shared about your trip to South America.
Okay. Yeah. It's the experiences of backpacking. I think I've been to about 70 plus countries backpacking prior,
70.
70 plus, yeah. So it was, I was always traveling, always backpacking, always wanting to see the world. When I was before my illness, I was traveling a lot, and that backpacking where you have you will survive on 50 ringgit a day. That's your budget for the day, and you just and turning up in China in the middle of nowhere where nobody speaks any English and you don't speak any Chinese. Then turning up at the airport in Buenos Aires, having flown all the way there, and with no hotel booked, no map, no guidebook, and then you pick up your bag, which is about 5 kilos in weight, that's it, and you go, right, what now? And then realizing everybody speaks Spanish and nobody was speaking English, and then thinking, okay, right, we have a problem here.
And this is before internet, isn't it? This is like
before, yeah. Before internet, and just survive, because I think that what I said about what our great grandparents have done and survival is just all of us. I'm not saying about only my grandparents. I'm saying anybody, all our grandparents and great grandparents teach us a lot, and they survive wherever they were put. And so with today's technology and availability and embassies everywhere, so that's where a lot of things were removed from. The fear didn't sort of went away. Thinking I'll be fine wherever I am. I'll be fine. I mean, I remember losing all my money, my passport in Yugoslavia then. Now is I don't know what the countries are called now. They're broken up now. I'm losing all my money, all my money, passport. Ticket, train ticket, which was the whole of Europe Interrail ticket, and then you have to make your way back to wherever you need to be to get temporary travel permit, money, nothing. So and all that. And another story that happened to me, and I must tell this story, is that when I was 19, I was traveling in Europe for the first time. And I lost all my money. I had my passport. I lost all my money and my train ticket and my ferry ticket back to the UK in northern France. Right. So this was somewhere called Norms or something like that. And then I went to the police station. The policeman who took my report down didn't speak any English. I don't speak any French apart from bonjour. And then so he somehow wrote a statement for me, police statement, and he said, there you go, over. And I told him I had no money, no train ticket, nothing. I had my passport, and that's all I had. So somehow he understood this. He took me to his police car. He put me at the back. He turned on a siren. And then we raced through this city. I'm thinking, what have I told him? What have I told him? Oh my God, where is it taking me to? Did he mistaken me or whatever? What I was telling him. So he then took me to a monastery. Right? Took me to a monastery. Took me into this monastery. Sat me down in front of this pastor. Explained to the pastor what was happening. The pastor then gave me enough money for me to buy a train ticket back to Calais and a ferry ticket back to the UK, from where I could use my ATM card, because at that time there was no international ATM. So there are lovely people around the world. Same thing in Yugoslavia, where people helped me to get from middle of Yugoslavia to Belgrade, and then from Belgrade to the embassy to get paperwork done. And all these people who provided you with food, with money, with help, assistance. People in China who helped me when I got completely lost, didn't speak any words, who put me in the back of their car and drove me to where I could find help. There are lots of people around the world who help you out. I got into Paraguay. Paraguay needs visa. I managed to get into Paraguay, the Malaysian passport, without a visa. And I'm trying to get out of Paraguay without a visa. When you needed a visa, luckily there was a guy there who helped me out. An Indonesian who helped me when two or three touts were trying to hassle me for my money in Pekanbaru. And this Indonesian lady who was working in Malaysia as a house helper was there. She took the same ferry as me. She protected me. She said she told them off on my behalf and took me to where I was going to be all right. So there are lots of lovely people around the world who will help you out, who will look out for you, who will, and then so as long as I do that back to other people who need help, so you just pay it forward. Yeah,
it's just a circle. And I think I hear my father's voice will say that. My father will say that you weren't born as my son, you're born as a son to the community in Tamil. And he always believes that. I think and that's why sometimes we see me, I may get a little annoying sometimes the people. It's because I've got eagerness to help people and talk to them and engage. And I think in today's time, we see that white flag people are raising and people are stepping in. But people who are out of business, who got no money, and they're like, screw it, I'm in bigger problems, yes, but someone is fighting for their existence and they will help. I think it's a very powerful message.
Imagine with the Evo Enduro WhatsApp group, right? Say wherever you are in Malaysia, right? Yeah. If you have a problem, you just need to post it there.
You're right.
Somebody in the Evo Enduro group will say, "I'll find help for you," and because if they're not from there, they will find help somebody from there, and that's I've received that kind of help from people in the Evo Enduro group and the WhatsApp group, and just putting a question and getting answers. It's just a fantastic platform.
Car guys in general are just that, true car guys,
Very
True story was I during Father's Day we were talking about I had a thing with Bobby and was showing pictures of old cars, and I found the number plate of my dad's old car. I was thinking like, how do I find that car? And I was talking to my friend, and then he went online and he went to his contact in JPJ. He said, "Your car is here, so and so owns the car. It's in Tapa." So we tracked the car down.
Right.
So I'm waiting for MC to open up to go to Tapa, and I want to buy back that old Toyota 1200 and my father's car. And it's really amazing.
I think people are just wonderful.
So we got Mike Yap in house. My first encounter with you, Cikgu, was in a Hua Hin garage. What happened with that?
Okay. All right. So yes, I met Mike before we left KL. He came with his, oh my God, the beautiful Sirocco, right? And I remember when I was a student, I had Sirocco on my wall. I posted a Sirocco on the wall, and there was a Sirocco in front of me in Malaysia.
Sirocco or Corrado?
Corrado.
Yeah.
Corrado. The Corrado was like, Corrado. I'm thinking, and this is a V6 as well. And I was thinking, oh my God,
and manual.
Yeah, manual. So that morning, early morning. And then, so I was like, I must catch up with this guy and see his car properly when we get to Hua Hin. And then the next, on the way there, right? On the way there, it was a 12-hour journey, right, to Hua Hin. Some people stopped in various places on the way and overnight, but I decided to see whether I could do it in straight away, in one go. So I kept going. And about 10 hours into the journey, right, I started. I brushed my left leg against my pedal and my clutch pedal, and I didn't feel any tension there, pressure there. I'm thinking, what's going on there? I pressed it. The pressure was there. I'm like, I'm beginning to hallucinate. I'm tired. I'm getting tired. I got to focus here properly. So then kept going, and now about an hour before I got to Hua Hin, when I changed the gear, it crunched. I'm thinking, that's unusual. So then I got to Hua Hin, managed to get to Hua Hin. And then the next morning, I checked my car. Everything was fine. Everything was fine. Thinking, I must have been hallucinating, or something must have been, playing in my mind or something like that. So I took the car, I went for breakfast, and on the way back, the car suddenly, this time was not hallucinating. I didn't have clutch, right? I didn't have clutch. So I was thinking, okay, this is real. So I coasted. I was going at a reasonable speed. I coasted, and the car brought the car to a stop by the roadside. And right opposite a mechanic shop.
Wow.
There was a mechanic shop, right? I thought, right, great. So I saw the mechanic shop, and I thought, okay, now how do I tell them what's going on? Secondly, this is a Lotus, right? Would they have the parts, right? Would they have the parts? How do I communicate? The owner of the car came out and said, "Hi, you need help?" or something along that line. I'm like, I speak English. I'm great. I speak English. So I thought, fantastic. So then I told him about the car, what was going on. He asked me to bring the car in. I said I couldn't drive, so he pushed the car in. And then he said that, the clutch seal had broken off. And I knew because I could feel where the clutch pump at the engine side was leaking. And I thought, okay, what, and then he said, don't worry. He said, okay, wait. He went into his storeroom. He came out with the seals that were meant for my car.
Huh?
I was like,
what?
Yeah, because then I was looking around his workshop. He was a dealer dealing with workshop dealing with Continental cars, and he was repairing Land Rovers. He's repairing Discoveries, Freelanders, right? Peugeots, Alphas, right? It was, and he had my car engines are over, right? And the clutch pump is over, right? So he said, yep, exactly the same. Started working on it. And then as he was working on it, came this Corrado, stopped, and he said, hey, Suresh, what's going on? Problem with my clutch. And he said, well, I got a problem with my Corrado because one of the cables for the ignition coils, ignition coil cables. And then the same owner looked at it. He said, no, why don't you go to this shop, which is quite close, given the direction. So that's the Volkswagen specialist.
Okay.
So Mike went there. I stayed over, right? Okay. And here's the best part about Thai people. I feared that this is going to cost me.
Yeah.
Right. I was in Thailand. It's a foreign car. It's a Lotus, and whatever it is, I was willing to pay. The bill came to 2,000 baht, which is about 200 ringgit, which was less than what I would have paid in KL.
Definitely.
With Mobile One fluid, he had flushed the whole system, the whole work. They gave me the extra fluid. He said, take this just in case. And he worked on the car for about 4 hours, right? For 200 ringgit, right? And not right. And of course, and Mike, and if Mike doesn't mind me telling the story, Mike went to that other shop recommended by this guy, who had the part for him, got it sorted for him, and refused to take any money.
Because of the car.
Because it's a Volkswagen Corrado.
Yeah.
It's like, just helped him out.
Wow.
It's
So
amazing.
beautiful.
It's amazing the kind of experiences that you get from this kind of journeys.
Guys, Crescent, borders, race, culture, creed, everything,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's because of that journey. And I said, my car stopped at what's the chance of a car stopping in front of a mechanic shop? Secondly, a shop with speak English, the owner speaking English. And thirdly, having the part. And fourthly, charging me very reasonable amount of money.
You must give me the contact because my MG is also on a rover engine. So my MG has got the same engine as yours. So
And that just gave me the confidence. That just gave me confidence to just go travel the whole of Thailand. After that, I decided there and then that night I sat with an Evo group guy in a table and we were talking. I said, "Yeah, I think my luck is on my side. I'm going up north." So I just left. And when everybody headed down, I went to Mae Hon Song and did Chiang Mai, did all the way to Buriram and all that places. Yeah, and came back.
So you got saying that next time he's going to service his car there. Damn it.
Yeah.
And Mike is adding on to the story. He said he had to leave him a tip of 2,000 bahts for him.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic, you know.
It's just amazing guys. And when you sit back at night with this Evo Enduro group guys and just share stories. Another story, right? There was this 2019. I was in my moke coming back, heading to Hat Yai. When this I can't remember the lady. I think Thomas's wife. Thomas, not Thomas, the Thomas with the mini, but the other Thomas. I think she was doing this to me, all right, as I was driving past her, and I waved at her. And said, "See you in Phuket." I just continued happily until I got to Hat Yai. Then I checked the messages to realize she was actually waving me down because they had a protest. I didn't know, right? I thought she just stopped by the roadside having some durian or something, right? Yeah. But Mike came behind me. Right, was way. She started later than me. He stopped, took the wheel, got it repaired at a shop in the area, brought it back to them, and then they continued the journey. Right. So you see, so as I said, there are always people helping out. There's always. And my mistake was I didn't stop. I thought she was waving at me. But Mike stopped.
I mean, if you think about exotic cars, a month after the Evo Enduro, we went on a Audi group drive, and a Lamborghini Huracan. What was then in the fleet? So the Huracan or A7s, S7s, there are M5, all of those cars, and I had a hybrid. And they're like, "Hey, bro, sure, hybrid, won't break down." So before we entered the border, the A7 had an issue. I had my computer out, so I had my VCDSI plugged in. I fixed the A7 so it could go on next week. Then we entered Thailand. Hat Yai, went for lunch, and then the Lamborghini Huracan had sound, and the drive shaft came off. It came off in Hat Yai, and you're like, we're in Hat Yai with a Lamborghini Huracan, and it came off. And we managed to get it towed. Went to a place, and the guy, first time in his life looking at a Lamborghini Huracan, but they do control cars. We were telling him how to put the jacks, because it was all carbon fiber body kit. We had to press the car and all that stuff. We lifted it up, and you know what? We opened it, and it was fixed. And thank God, because it was a Huracan, it had a floor pan, all the bricks came off and dropped on the floor pan. They just had the cover for the bottom cover. So there was no parts, just that the torque wasn't properly set. So we just split up, and we went from Hat Yai to Phuket the same day. So you're talking about a Huracan, guys, come on. So you'd be surprised at how good the Thais are comes to cars and mechanics and repairs. You just need to know where to look for them, but they're fantastic,
You know, with the Evo guys, right? With the Evo Enduro guys, now that I drive with them, I go with drives with them, even here, around here, Munwai, Alan, these are all car guys, and you can always depend on them to go with drives with them. But one thing that you talked about Evo Enduro, one thing that I'm looking forward to, and I want to do this as well after Bobby has done it, is that journey to London in a car. And he was talking about that, and that has also inspired me to see whether it's possible. When I was beginning to plan it, but obviously the pandemic now, and but it'd be great. this Volkswagen guy, the Volkswagen Combi and a Beetle, 2 Combis, 1 Beetle that went through Russia, from Malaysia to London to Europe, and they broke down, and how the Russian guys came and helped them out because the exhaust fell off. Came and did it there and then.
Bobby says yes, journey to Europe.
Yeah.
Let's do it together.
That idea that Bobby came up with, I'm like, yeah, gotta do it. Yeah. Job, indeed, Mike. Yeah.
And then Alex Wong to lead us there.
Yeah.
But what car would you take if you do that whole Europe trip? I mean, from KL to Europe, because you got to go through China. You got to go through some, I think, rough terrains towards towards after the northern part of Thailand, Cambodia and stuff. So what car will you take?
I don't know. I probably will will look for a car that's going to be memorable, but going to be reliable because it's going to be great. But there's guys from Hong Kong who came to Malaysia in a Subaru STIs and went through Laos, through the back roads of Laos. Ooh. But they made it. They made it, and they made it back as well. I'm thinking, it's just fantastic that these guys are doing this kind of thing. So when is our turn? Let's go.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for taking half year off. Is it what will it take? What 5 months, 6 months? What do you reckon is the?
Possibly. Yeah. Depends how many times you break down. But it will all be sorted. Yeah, just all go.
Yeah. And I think some people think about doing extremes and taking a Hilux and stuff. But I guess the part of the journey is taking cars that memorable, and maybe it may not fit all the occasions, but when you hit the right spot and you got a convertible maybe, and you're like, oh yes, I'm down the road in this convertible or in this beautiful car in that I'm not supposed to be here, but I'm here. It's just an awesome feeling. Definitely. I'm not sure whether I can leave 6 months my kids alone and join the journey. I know Bobby wants to do it with his kids, and that's even more amazing. Doing a journey is one thing, but doing a journey with your kids, that's a whole different playing field. And that's part of the journey. I think he got the Rapid. Rapid was supposed to be that car he takes. He will take his Saga. Chris said he's going to take his Saga.
Yeah, if Chris takes the Saga, I'm coming in the Saga. Yes.
If you all take, I'll take a Saga too. Then we have all the Saga parts available. We just have a whole car in the boot for parts and just share parts, and we're done. Sorted.
Our car's from 1990s. Yeah. I think Chris's Saga is older than mine. Yeah.
So anyway, guys, we're coming to our 1.5 hour mark. We had lots of fun. Malaysia represent. Chris, you're right, Chris. Malaysia represent.
Yeah.
It'll be amazing actually if you think about it. All Sagas going there, and maybe if it's like when was Saga launched? If it's like a whole anniversary thing, if you do that, that'll be quite interesting.
It was launched in 1988, 85 actually, 1985. Sorry, it was launched in 1985.
There you go. For 4 more years to plan out.
Yeah, 1985. So yeah, good idea. Good
Think
idea.
about it. We got things over here. We got Robert King said, I'll buy a Saga and join. He said my Saga is 1985, first batch. Then Jared says 85. Corona V6. So yeah, imagine for 1985 being the my maths 40 years anniversary going back to going to London. Wow, that's an amazing journey.
Yeah,
that's a must do.
I just overhauled my Saga. Car guys like Chris, right? Chris will completely understand where I'm coming from here. Is that the car is worth what, 1,000, 2,000 ringgit? But I spent 8,000 plus on it, renovating it, getting it sorted, working on the engine. I just love it. My first car.
People forget that a well-sorted car, it's so fantastic. I mean, it's if all the stories or all the experience you have driving a old Vera or old Saga is from what you've driven, then you have not experienced a brand new one, how a new car will be. And I bought a new Vera before when I was young, and my car was fantastic. It was perfectly sorted. It was a beautiful car. Even a Vira, I believe it's so good to drive. So good to drive. People must experience that. It's so amazing. Chris Wee says value depends if you sell with full tank or petrol.
So true. So true. If you get a full tank with it, you're lucky. You made a bargain.
Yeah. My wife has told me that I'm strictly prohibited from buying any of the cars until I sort out my 2 project cars. I had a project car. While waiting for the project car, I bought another project car, and the other project car is not ready yet. And now it's a race to see which project car will finish first because of the MCO. So, and I still don't know which one will finish first because this is the thing. The MGF is sorted. I've done the engine, I rebuilt the engine. I've done the wiring. I've done the AC. It's beautiful. Mechanic is perfect. I even bought new setups of the air compressors. It's all done. It's all here. This one tiny little valve was broken on shipment. That valve is pending. That's the only thing. This was like this small little valve, and that valve I can't buy anywhere else because the guy modified it from a Boeing thing, whatever.
Right.
It's like a plane tip parts from Netherlands. So I'm waiting for that one small part. The Porsche Boxster, I've imported from Romania a new pedal box for the manual conversion. I bought a half cut. Everything is there. Everything is done. The mechanic said, "Yes, finally we can do it." And then EMCO hit, and then I'm stuck. So I still don't know which one will finish first.
Yeah,
it's a gamble at this point. So it's interesting. Yeah. Oh, this has been fun, Suresh. I think we should end here. If not, we should go for hours.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been great, and I think if anything, it's about inspiring others, living Gung-Ho. I think you are a true inspiration. Thank you, Cikgu Suresh.
No, thank you, everybody.
So many times in my life you have come and given me insight, and to all the guys who are in Evo Enduro, please by all means next year or this year, whenever we have Evo Enduro, please join us. In the interim, you can go down to the link down there, Evo Club. Join us in Evo Club. We have lots of things happening. We got Bob Young with a terrific idea. He says Malaysia. Okay, we got to explore this. Okay, so it's Malaysia, Thailand, Myanmar, China, Mongolia, Russia, Kazakhstan, Russia again because you cut through, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. Oh my God, Poland. We go to Germany.
So coming down again and now going back up to Germany,
UK,
France, UK.
Oh, you're going further. You're going further to Spain.
Go to UK and come back to France, and then go down to Spain, to Portugal, back to Spain, back to France, and then go to the middle part, the Alps, Switzerland, going to the Alps Pass, the Stelvio Pass. We have to do the Stelvio Pass. I've been hearing so much about it, but never did it. So Switzerland, Italy, Austria, that would be the Alps. Slovenia and Croatia, beautiful countries from what I hear. Bosnia, right? I can go and thank all the people who gave me help for getting my passport. Croatia and Bosnia, Montenegro, down to Albania, Macedonia, and then Greece, down to the Mediterranean, Bulgaria, Turkey. Turkey to Iran. Iran, we don't need visas for Iran. So many countries need visas for Iran. We don't, as Malaysians, I mean, we don't need visas for Iran. I went to Iran just before the pandemic, actually, with Jeffrey Talib, the 311 guy. Pakistan, India, and then back to Myanmar and back to here, right? So it's like a big loop.
Wow. That's an amazing thing. So anyway, thank you guys for joining. If that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what will. If you don't do something that scares you, you're not doing it right. And I think that's the way we'll end the show. Go out there and do something that scares you today. Okay, guys, thank you, and see you next week.